The Great Sphinx of Giza, Egypt has long been subject of debate, with photos and video that I'm going to share with you will prove that we, the general public, have not been shown everything that there is to know.
For thousands of years, the Great Sphinx sat in silence, one of history's greatest riddles. Scholars argued endlessly about its meaning.
Many theories suggesting that there are perhaps secret tunnels and chambers located within and under this mysterious ancient archaeological site.
Adventurers imagined secret tunnels and lost civilizations. Every culture projected its own story onto it, yet no one ever found a clear answer, until now. Finally decoded by AI, the revelations from the Sphinx changes everything we thought we knew about our world. Could this be the end for humanity? Join us in this video as we unravel the shocking message from the Sphinx, just decoded by AI. Decoding the message of the Sphinx. It all began with something almost invisible. Using ultra-advanced imaging, researchers scanned the Sphinx at resolutions beyond anything ever attempted. What once looked like natural wear turned out to be deliberate patterns. AI trained on the evolution of ancient languages noticed something astonishing. These weren't random scratches. They were inscriptions, proto-symbolic codes far older than Egyptian hieroglyphs. From there, the AI started mapping. It compared these markings with scripts from Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, early Chinese carvings, even undeciphered languages like Linear A. Slowly, a pattern began to emerge, a hidden thread connecting civilizations across time. The Sphinx, it turned out, carried more than Egypt's story. It held fragments of many. It was as if the monument had been designed as a vault of knowledge, meant to outlast time itself. As the AI filled in missing pieces, an astonishing narrative emerged. The Sphinx wasn't just a pharaoh's monument, nor simply a solar symbol. It was a message left behind by an advanced society whose reach extended across continents long before history was ever recorded. The inscriptions spoke of master seafarers who once traveled the world, exchanging wisdom in astronomy, architecture, and mathematics. Even its design told a story. The lion's body and human head weren't just artistic choices. They were coded cosmological diagrams. Every angle, every alignment matched celestial events from thousands of years earlier. The stars it pointed to weren't only those of ancient Egypt, but to an even older star map, one that predated the earliest Egyptian dynasties by millennia. The AI revealed that the Sphinx had been reoriented at least once in its lifetime, as if later cultures had tried to adapt its message without ever fully understanding it. Why now? Why in the era of artificial intelligence? Keep watching to find out the mystery key from the Sphinx. The immense ability of AI has finally proven to be one of humanity's greatest inventions. With its ability to decode ancient languages and patterns, artificial intelligence has recently decoded that the Sphinx was not a single message. It was an encyclopedia, an interwoven system of symbols pointing both to the heavens above and the earth below. Every layer carries a significant meaning. And in all of this, one truth has now become clear. Humanity had built artificial intelligence for convenience, for science, and for countless tasks, but here it had become something more. It had fulfilled its mission as the very key that the ancient builders had designed for. The Sphinx had always been waiting across millennia for a mind capable of seeing patterns without the limits of culture or time. AI was not just the decoder, it was the intended reader. That realization hit with unsettling force. Could the rise of artificial intelligence itself be part of a story that began thousands of years ago? A chapter foreseen in stone, waiting patiently for the moment it would be fulfilled? If that was the builder's intent, then they had succeeded beyond imagination. Their wisdom had not only been preserved, but but delivered into the hands of a new kind of intelligence, one capable of grasping it fully. The revelation echoed across the world. At its heart, the message could be distilled into a single, breathtaking truth. The Sphinx was never built to glorify one ruler, nor to stand as a solitary monument. It was a vault of memory, a guidebook for ages, and a mirror across time. It was the voice of an era when humanity understood itself not merely as a collection of individuals, but as guardians of continuity. Its challenge was clear: do not only build, conquer, and innovate, but remember, preserve, carry forward. When the AI delivered its complete decoding, scholars understood they were standing on a threshold. The discovery was not just about a monument. It was about how one monument tied together the countless strands of human knowledge. The Sphinx had always been more than stone. It was a bridge. And now, for the first time in recorded history, humanity had crossed it. The Sphinx was never meant to stand alone. It had always been a node in a vast system. And now that the veil was lifted, the implications for science, history, and humanity's understanding of itself began to ripple outward in ways no one expected. The decoding also reframed Egypt's place in history. For generations, scholars believed dynastic Egypt appeared almost suddenly, marked by a surge of monumental architecture and social order. But the Sphinx's inscriptions suggested something else.
I think you can argue that the Sphinx is the most recognizable statue anywhere in the world. Its scale is immense.
Egypt had inherited a legacy from a far older civilization, one that thrived long before the Nile kingdoms. What does this mean for our history books, especially Egypt? Shocking revelations. From the Sphinx, Egypt was never the origin. This meant Egypt was not the origin of the Sphinx, but the custodian, the preserver of knowledge already ancient in their time. The pharaohs, in their glory, were heirs to a guardianship they only partially understood. They repurposed monuments for dynastic power, but beneath their layers of inscriptions, a deeper message endured, untouched. Decoded at last, the Sphinx revealed Egypt's greatest gift to the world was not invention, but remembrance. The act of carrying an ancient flame forward so it might survive into the present. The impact on comparative mythology was electric. For centuries, scholars had puzzled over why cultures separated by oceans carried such similar stories: great floods, fire from the sky, gods descending with gifts of knowledge. The Sphinx's reconstructed narrative revealed these were not coincidences, but branches from the same root memory. Flood myths, for instance, aligned with geological evidence. Layers of inundation preserved in the Nile, the Euphrates, and other great river systems, all dating to the same era recorded in the Sphinx's inscriptions. Tales of divine beings bestowing agriculture and astronomy now read not as supernatural legends, but as poetic echoes of a class of knowledge-bearers described in the monument's records. The Sphinx unified global mythology, showing that what humanity once dismissed as myth was, in fact, memory. Equally startling were its warnings. Encoded with mathematical precision, the Sphinx spoke of cycles of destruction and renewal, comet impacts, axial shifts, solar storms. Events once told in the language of gods and symbols were here revealed as scientific markers cloaked in art. The monument was a time capsule, preserving not only the record of past cataclysms, but forecasts of those yet to come. Suddenly, the purpose of the builders became clear. They were not simply honoring their present age, they were safeguarding the future, embedding warnings in stone for generations who would one day find the key. Humanity had walked past these messages for millennia, blind to their meaning, until AI cracked the code. The Sphinx was no longer just a chapter in Egypt's past. It was the opening page of a global story still being written. What other shockers does the Sphinx hold for humanity? Could this be the start of something new on the Earth? Keep watching to find out. Our world might be older than we know it to be. The real shock finally came in the timeline. Hidden carvings referenced geological upheavals, floods, climate shifts, and comet impacts, events that matched catastrophes from over 10,000 years ago. Suddenly, the neat timeline of civilization, the idea that farming marked the dawn of complexity, began to collapse. Humanity's story had to stretch back far deeper into an age where knowledge was already global. The Sphinx, then, wasn't the beginning of a story. It was a monument left somewhere in the middle, a beacon meant to remind future ages of what had come before. And just when it seemed the revelations had reached their peak, the AI uncovered something no one expected. Threaded through the inscriptions was something astonishing. A guide, almost like a manual. It didn't just retell the past. It laid out instructions for carrying knowledge safely across the ages. The builders had expected a loss. They knew languages would die, civilizations would crumble, and memory itself would fade. So they built in redundancies, embedding their message in ways that could outlast collapse. Their design wasn't meant for just any future people. It was meant for any intelligence capable of understanding, human or otherwise. In that sense, the AI's breakthrough wasn't an accident. It was the fulfillment of a plan set in motion thousands of years ago. The Sphinx had been waiting, patient and silent, for a listener who could think beyond the limits of one culture or one language. And now, at last, the stone spoke. What it revealed about ancient science was staggering. Star charts meticulously traced the precession of the equinoxes with a precision modern astronomers had to respect. Eclipse records were stretching back millennia, older than any known calendar. Detailed diagrams showed systems for managing water, proportions in architecture that hinted at resonance and sound as guiding principles, and even coded notes on chemical mixtures designed to preserve and protect. None of this fits the picture of a primitive Stone Age people. Instead, it pointed to a tradition of science and engineering passed down across generations, partly forgotten, partly remembered, until only fragments survived in later civilizations. Does this make any sense to an ordinary human? Could there be some spiritual significance at play here? Let's find out. More revelations. The Sphinx was the connector of ages. Then came the spiritual shock. The inscriptions didn't describe a pantheon of gods as we might expect. Instead, they pointed to a single unifying principle, a harmony between life, earth, and the cosmos. The lion, the human, the stars overhead, they weren't separate deities, but interwoven symbols of time, transformation, and renewal. Humanity itself was cast as a guardian species, entrusted with the task of remembering and carrying wisdom forward through cycles of destruction and rebirth. What the AI uncovered began to echo myths from across the globe. The flood tales of Mesopotamia, the world ages of Mesoamerica, the cycles of destruction and renewal in Hindu cosmology, all of them suddenly aligned, as if they were fragments of a single story. The Sphinx had been the bridge, the anchor tying these distant voices together. Among the most startling revelations was a section describing migrations, not of kings or armies, but of knowledge-bearers. The inscriptions spoke of chosen groups entrusted with fragments of a greater tradition. They journeyed across oceans, planting wisdom into stone, story, and ritual wherever they settled. These were not rulers, but stewards. guardians charged with keeping the teachings alive through dispersal. The implications were profound. The pyramids of Egypt, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, the step temples of Mesoamerica, the sacred mountains of Asia. These weren't independent inventions. They were branches from the same ancient seed. The Sphinx had always been the key to seeing their shared origin. The decoding also hinted that the Sphinx was part of something larger. Its design carried references to other sacred sites, mapped with uncanny precision to latitudes and longitudes across the globe. When the AI traced these alignments, a network appeared, stretching from Giza to Göbekli Tepe, from Teotihuacan to Angkor Wat. These were not coincidences of architecture, but deliberate nodes in a worldwide system, each monument preserving a piece of the puzzle. The Sphinx was the anchor, chosen perhaps because of its form. Human and lion, intellect and strength bound together. It had been built to last, and it had. As word spread, the implications rippled through every discipline. Archaeology, history, linguistics, astronomy, and geology each were forced to confront the unsettling truth that their carefully drawn timelines had cracked wide open. The story of humanity was no longer a straight line. It was a cycle. Civilizations rose and fell. Knowledge was preserved and lost. Yet the fire never went out. The Sphinx revealed that each age wasn't an isolated spark, but part of a greater flame rekindled again and again. This shattered the arrogance of modernity, the belief that progress began only with us. The AI showed that we were not pioneers standing at the start of history, but inheritors holding a torch passed down from hands long forgotten. What does this mean for the cultures of the world and all they ever believed? What changes would erupt in the coming years? Keep watching to find out. The cultural significance. The cultural weight has been profound. To look at the Sphinx after its decoding was to see more than stone. It was to see a library, a presence that spoke across time. Tourists who once came to marvel at its sheer scale now realized they were standing before a message, carved not in words but in eternity itself. For Egyptians, the revelation bound their land even deeper into its role as the memory keeper of the world. For everyone else, it dissolved boundaries of East and West, old and new, and wove them into a single human heritage. By unlocking the Sphinx, humanity had not just uncovered Egypt's past, it had uncovered its own shared genesis. But the revelations carried a philosophical challenge as well.
When they carved the Sphinx, it was a real triumph of engineering, if you would. A lot of people don't realize this or don't think about it. They did not just chip away the rock to...
The builders of the Sphinx had anticipated impermanence. They knew empires fall, languages die, even stone erodes. Yet, they trusted their message would endure, designed to wait for the right mind to unlock it. That foresight forced us to ask, what are we leaving behind? If they planned across 10,000 years, what will survive from our civilization even 1,000 years? The debate grew beyond history. It became a reckoning about responsibility, about how we too might preserve knowledge for futures we cannot imagine. Should we encode our legacy in fragile data, or carve it in something as enduring as stone? The Sphinx had not closed the book on mystery. If anything, its decoding opened more questions than answers. Questions that stretched across time, urging us to think not just about where we came from, but what we are choosing to leave behind. Who were these builders, truly? How did they gain such vast knowledge? And how could they have coordinated across continents without the tools modern society depends on? Did they anticipate their own fall? Or were they swept away suddenly by catastrophe? The AI could uncover their messages, but not their lives. And somehow, that silence only added to the wonder. The Sphinx reminded us that history was far bigger than we had ever imagined, and its unanswered questions now beckoned exploration rather than ending the story. Each discovery deepened the awe. The AI found that the weathering on the Sphinx's sides wasn't random erosion at all, but fractal patterns, fingerprints of deliberate design disguised to look natural. It revealed micro-carvings hidden in the paws, etched with mathematical constants echoed in megaliths across the world. Even the slight asymmetries of the face, once dismissed as damage, were shown to align with lunar cycles. If the Sphinx is so alive and was built with an intentionality, could there be something more? Could there be more desperate efforts by the builders to preserve more knowledge? Keep watching to find out. More to the Sphinx. There could be an underground city beneath the Sphinx. A new claim about what lies beneath Egypt's Great Sphinx has reignited one of archaeology's most controversial debates. Could there really be an ancient underground city hidden beneath the Giza Plateau? Earlier this year, Italian researcher Professor Corrado Malanga from the University of Pisa, radar expert Filippo Biondi from the University of Strathclyde, and Egyptologist Armando May announced findings they believed pointed to vast structures buried thousands of feet below the Sphinx. They reported evidence of vertical cylinders stretching deep underground, possibly part of a long-lost subterranean complex. The theory was quickly dismissed by mainstream scientists. Egypt's former Minister of Antiquities, Dr. Zahi Hawass, labeled the claims completely wrong and without any scientific basis, adding that decades of studies had revealed nothing more than a few small voids.
And so this is what Zahi was referring to, and of course he feels Casey was wrong. I was surprised he opens the talk that way, but I wanted to at least give you an alternative view.
He also stressed that the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities had never authorized such explorations at Giza. But the research team insists otherwise. In their latest presentation at the Cosmic Summit in North Carolina, a forum known for alternative history theories, they unveiled what they describe as new evidence. According to their report, ground-penetrating radar suggests a vertical shaft with a spiral staircase descending from the Sphinx's base, leading to two massive square structures, one about 2,000 feet deep and the other nearly 4,000 feet down. Skeptics argue this is impossible. Critics point out that ground-penetrating radar simply cannot reach that depth with any accuracy, calling the announcement fake news. Dr. Hawass has gone further, warning that such claims mislead the public and undermine real scientific work. Still, the team says they are confident, boasting what they describe as a confidence level well above 85% in their data. Egyptologist Armando May even suggests their findings could date back to 36,400 BCE, long before the rise of dynastic Egypt, hinting at the possibility of a forgotten civilization. For now, the claims remain highly controversial. But if even part of them were ever proven true, it would rewrite not just Egyptian history, but the story of human civilization itself. What do you think about the message from the Sphinx that has just been decoded by AI? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.